Okay, so for this sprint, we're taking a look at the start for a score manager, player manager, and wave manager. So in the score manager, we figure out the correct value for our score based on which enemy was killed. We send that to our queue. Every frame, we will act on those scores and add it to our current player. So going into our player manager, once it's created, we get a certain number of players to create inside of a list, and we simulate the next player by pressing a key and just go to the next player in our list. Then in our player, we basically just keep track of its score, its high score and number of lives here, and like shown before, we can change its score from the score manager. Then in our wave manager, under these different cases for our waves, we'll control how often the enemies will spawn. So with the centipede manager, we control how long the main centipede is, how fast it moves, as well as how many solo heads will spawn and how fast they'll move. For the other enemies, we figure out how often they'll spawn with alarms, and the fleas we also determine how regularly they'll spawn mushrooms. And cleaning up on some past work, the centipede specifically now has 10 different states for the FSM, a lot more specific. And in order to do that, we calculate its move offsets just once based on its speed, so we don't have to do that every single frame. So once we go ahead and run this, we'll see the centipede coming down. And if you look at the bottom right, we can see in the log, we can see the player's information about its score. We start to shoot some of these objects. We'll see that the score is getting updated. Now, player 1's score is 205 right now. If we go ahead and press a button and switch to player 2, we can see its score is 0. We can start to shoot some of these other objects and update the score. So now it's 121. If we switch back to player 1, its score is 205. So that is updated correctly. And then if we go ahead and actually just change our wave settings from 1 to 2, this should dramatically change how the enemies are spawned in. So now we have multiple centipedes coming in from the top, and we should start to get some of the other enemies coming in automatically via alarms. So then now we've got the flea coming in, as well as the spider over here, and now we also have a scorpion coming in as well.